What's one really bad thing you did as a child that you kept secret for your entire life and didn't tell nobody? I'll go first. I got a lot of stories like this, but this is just one of them. So my mama used to put me in daycare, and in my daycare, we used to do field trips, and we went to the YMCA. So while we were in the pool, this one white kid comes up to me. He asked me, like, why are you black? And I was kind of embarrassed, but I wasn't mad at the kid. I was more embarrassed than I was mad. And I told him that my parents painted me every single day. And I was thinking back at the time when I scraped my knee and the skin came off and there was like no blood. It was just bone. But I didn't know that it was bone. I thought that I was just white underneath. So I was like, it's true, like I can peel my skin off and prove it. When I did that, I peeled skin off my finger and it was a lot of skin and I started bleeding really bad. So the water started getting red and the daycare people tried to get everybody out the water like there was something going on. And then once everybody was out of the water, one of the daycare people go, I'm so sorry, everybody. I lost my tampon. I need to find it. Okay, so what happened was pretty self-explanatory, but I can make a part 2 if you guys want. So this is part 2 of the really bad thing that I did as a child and kept secret. So my daycare instructor, or whatever you call them, basically said that she had lost her tampon in the water. And I'm guessing she said that because she was on her period and she had a tampon in and the water started turning red, and that's the only reason that she could think of. But like they started checking all the kids and making sure that all the kids were okay and stuff. And when they came up to me and asked me if I was good, I was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. And so they were looking in the water for like an hour, but there was no tampon. Like they could not find the tampon. Like that one white kid, he was not part of the daycare. Like he wasn't one of the daycare kids. So they evacuated everybody out the pool. Like nobody was allowed in there. And like we all got back on the bus and we went back to the daycare, and the daycare instructor who thought she had lost her tampon literally talked to all of us and was like, things like this can happen as a woman and da-da, when you get older you'll understand. But baby, I stayed mute. Ain't nobody know. One person knows, but hopefully she don't see this on her For You page. Sorry about it.
She sliced her face? Story time. Y'all, this is why you do not mess with the quiet kids. In 11th grade, I used to be friends with this girl named Olivia. And Olivia was one of those people who were really shy, kind of to themselves, didn't really speak much, you know what I mean? And this other girl, who we're gonna name Nicole, used to bully Olivia to the point where Olivia was scared to come to school sometimes. And Olivia tried telling the teachers and even tried telling the parents, but no one did anything about it. So I was like, if no one's gonna help you out, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to fight that bitch, okay? And make sure you get her good. Let her know that you are not the one to be played with. So the next day, Olivia comes to school and she's like, when I see Nicole, it's going down. And I was like, okay, girl, do you. I'm proud of you. Well, she ends up running into Nicole shortly after that. And when she sees her, she pulls out a razor blade from her mouth and slices Nicole in the face.
Ladies, this is why you should always be cautious while driving alone at nighttime. If you ever find yourself in a situation where a car is following you or making every single turn that you make, do not, and I repeat, do not drive home. And this is why. So I started talking to this one guy through this online dating app. Yes, I know the dangers, baby. I was desperate. I was taking my chances regardless. I decided to go on a date, and that would be the first time that I would ever see him in person. Never FaceTime before this, and he looked exactly how he did in his pictures. Anyways, y'all get it, y'all get the point. Well, I was already at the restaurant we were supposed to meet up at and I was waiting for him. We had a really good time, but it was time for me to go to bed because I was getting tired. Mind you, I didn't see his car when he pulled up, he just walked in. But anyways, I start to drive home. Well, 15 minutes into the drive, I kind of noticed that there's a car behind me that has taken every single turn that I have taken since I left the restaurant. So I start taking random turns to see if the car would still follow me, and it did. Well, eventually I stopped to park in a random driveway. At first, that same car passes by me, but then it turns right back around and parks behind my car. Part 2 of why ladies should always be cautious while driving alone at nighttime. And if a random car starts following you, to never drive home. So like I said, I noticed this random car following me, so I didn't drive home. I parked into some random driveway and the same car that was following me drove right past me. I waited a little bit to see if I was in the clear, and I see that same car driving right back towards my direction. That's when I duck. I basically try to make it seem like I went inside, even though it's not really my house. Well, he ends up parking right behind my car, and he gets out of his car. At this point, I was terrified, but at least I was in my car so I could run him over if need be. And thankfully, I have tinted windows, so when he walked past my car, he didn't see me because I was ducking. I didn't really get to see his face or what he was wearing. He basically looked like a black figure. Like I said, it was really dark outside. Whoever's house I was didn't keep their front porch lights on. Thankfully. Then maybe he would have seen me. Well, he gets to the front porch. That's when I immediately get up, turn my car back on, and drive home. Well, the next morning I was woken up by someone ringing my doorbell. Look outside and I see the same car from last night parked in my driveway. Part 3 of why ladies should always be cautious while driving alone at nighttime. Like I said, I was able to get away from whoever was following my car last night. Well, the next morning, someone was ringing my doorbell, so I woke up. I look outside my window because my bedroom window is right at the front of my house. And I see the same car that was following me last night parked in my driveway. I didn't know what to do at this point, but I thought that I should at least try to see what he looks like. So I go to my door and I look through that little peephole. When I say I almost passed away, it is not an exaggeration. It was my date from last night. I swing open my door and I'm like, motherfucker, how did you find me? I didn't give you my address. I straight up confront him. I'm not playing around. I said, were you following me last night? He goes, oh, I just forgot to get your number. At the moment I was thinking he could be telling the truth because we did only talk through that online dating app. We never exchanged numbers. So I went ahead and gave him my number and didn't think much of it. That was a big mistake. The next day I woke up to 200 missed calls and 50 texts from him. For part 4. Part 4 of why ladies should be cautious while driving home alone at nighttime. So my date shows up to my house, aka the dude that was following me last night, and says that he was following me because he never got to get my number. Low-key believed him because we never did exchange numbers. I kinda thought it was a little cute. He would follow me just to get my number. At the time I wasn't really thinking that he could have just texted me on the dating app for my number. But yeah, I should have never gave him my number. Because when I woke up the next day, I had 200 missed calls and 50 texts from him. So I start reading the texts, and it was not an emergency. It was actually a nightmare. Text read something along the lines of, text me back right now, where the hell are you? I need you. Call me back or I swear to God. Well, I didn't even bother replying. But as the day went on, he kept texting me and he kept calling me. The texts turned into threats. I was thinking about just blocking him. Then I remembered since he followed me and I drove home, he knew my address. Part 5 of why ladies should always be cautious while driving alone at night. Like I said, I gave my date my phone number. Then the next morning, I woke up to a bunch of spam texts and calls from him. Basically just saying things like, call me back right now. I need you. Text me back. And then his text started getting worse. He started saying things like, if you don't text me back, I'm gonna kill you. I was thinking about blocking him, but I didn't want to make him mad because he knew where I lived. I show his messages and all his calls to my girlfriend. They just tell me to go to the police. One of my really good friends came over and took me to the police station because she didn't want me leaving my house by myself. Well, when we got there, they told us that they couldn't even do anything because he hadn't committed a crime yet. And that the threats that he sent me just weren't enough to make a case. Well, I did end up blocking him. I blocked his number and I blocked him on the online dating site. Basically moved in with my friend. It's been like a week now and I haven't really went home. My girlfriends and family are now helping me find a new place to stay. If there's any advice that anyone wants to give me, please leave it in the comments.
After this, she'll never look at black coffee the same way again. A young married couple planned to go out for dinner, so they hired a babysitter for their daughter. But something horrifying happened soon after, something no one could expect. The babysitter found the couple's daughter sleeping, so she went downstairs to watch TV. Then she heard a loud bang and the phone started ringing. A cackling voice answered, black coffee, I'm in the bedroom. The babysitter ran upstairs and found the couple's daughter in a black shawl. She quietly took it off and went back downstairs. Then the phone rang again. Black coffee, I'm in the kitchen, I've got the baby. She ran into the kitchen and found the couple's daughter in a red wig. So she went around the house and disconnected all the phones. That's when her cell phone rang. Black coffee, I'm in the front yard. As soon as the babysitter went outside, she saw the couple's daughter sitting on the windowsill, wearing the black shawl and the red wig, cackling loudly. Then the babysitter felt a sharp pain in her back. When the couple came back from dinner, they found their daughter in the front yard eating her babysitter. And the dad said, oh God, not again.